Why, hello there. Today we are gonna talk about the mysteries of the world today, starting with their strange talismans, religion, and all of that. World mysteries, strange artifacts, talismans, and amulets. There is a long tradition throughout history of talismans made by alchemists, shamans, and witches, priests, and many more. And they are sold or given to the public. In magic, talismans supposedly can be endowed with this supernatural power that can only be from the forces of nature, by the gods or the god, or by being made so in a ritualistic way. By, for example, if it's made by a certain cult, or a certain religion, or a certain group of religious people believing in other forms of religion. You name it, you guess it, you think about it. Among talismans are precious stones, for each they possess their own magical for creative powers endowed by nature or by God itself. We don't know. Because since we are humans, we believe whatever they are taught of us to believe from before and after, or the future, past. We believe it, we think about it. Talismans can be any object, design, or symbol believed to be endowed with magical powers. The item is active in that it and of itself bestows this magical power upon the one who possesses it at the time. So think about it. Your parents, or you see it in, for example, in the Manawag Church, where you see that there are some rosaries or such, or talismans that give you a certain kind of power. For example, there's one where you get more luck, a rosary of luck, or a blessing, for example. We use these talismans to enhance our belief into that religion, into that into that religion or cult that we believe in, into what we believe is true. Talismans and amulets and such, or artifacts made from our ancestors before, are made to believe, to instill that religion towards us people. For example, we could consider the Bible to be to be an artifact, because as much as I would say that it is like a book only, it is not only a book. It is a book that came from the before times and made by various writers who believe of what they are true, from the Genesis up to the Revelations. The Egyptians, first of all, the Egyptians and the Babylonians used talismans when attempting to alter the forces of nature. In which that's why before the ancestors of the Egyptians believed in gods and goddesses before, and us today are still trying to understand what they believed. And thus, so far, we can only see that they believed in strange cat statues and other gods. But these two, the Egyptians and Babylonians, were the pioneers of making talismans and amulets. In the Middle Ages, or the medieval ages, or you can call that, holy relics and other objects assumed the value of talismans in attempts to cure illnesses. Some thieves converted severed hands of thieves into talismans to assist them in their trade. Alchemical charms were worn by kings, queens, and popes and bishops, merchants, diplomats, and but less expensive amulets, usually made by witches or with someone who believes in mythological stuff, were worn or hung in the house of nearly everybody else. The most common amulets were those that protected against violence, plague, theft, and bad luck. Since people before days didn't have technology such as lighting, phones, and such, they tend to believe that science isn't much invented back then, and let's just say that magic is their science, is their way of belief of science. But actually, the science is the main ingredient in all of the technology of the world. For example, swords. Swords are made from metal, and the handle is made from wood, in which the metal is came from the periodic table itself, while the handle is made from wood, which have many other chemical components. But back then, they didn't know this, so they thought that, excuse me, so they thought that before then, the magic is magic is magic is like commonly believed to be used. For example, if someone flies for more than for 5 minutes, they would tend to believe that it's magic. For example, a time traveler came back to the year 1520, they would and brought their phone with them, a fully charged phone, for example. They would believe that that phone is either powered by magic, in which in this universe or in this reality, it is powered by electricity, in which they do not know of yet. So of course, it is the common people of back then, of the medieval ages, would believe or would assume it is made by magic, and thus they would see you as this wizard or powerful entity, let alone be their god. In ancient African culture, the carrying of an animal's foot, whether it be rabbit or some other animal foot located in the Africas, or other parts of a swift creature, was supposed to help a person be able to escape or flee with the speed of an animal. For example, let's just say it's a bunny, a rabbit, or whether it be a cheetah or the fastest animal or any other fast animal. Maybe a deer. It is a fast animal that can run from its predators. This lucky rabbit's foot, we tend to believe today, charm was handed down and assimilated into our culture by the enslaved Africans, who were brought to the New World, or in this case, the New World is becoming what we call today the Americas, the New Americas, or South America and such, or because back then the old world, which we tend to believe, is Europe, since Europe is basically the cradle of civilization, the start of human life, and they evolved because after the monkeys involved with the humans, in which I don't know if I can believe that, they made civilizations from the Inca civilizations, the civilization until the Homo sapiens of the or humans as we call it spread all throughout the world, and it started right at Europe, and it started right in the deserts of course, and then after that it spread throughout what we call today France and such and such. And then after that, when we discovered shipping or sails or boats, we now explore to the real world. Also borrowed from centuries of American voodoo or African voodoo ceremonies, a mojo or luck bag could carry many lucky objects of a spell meant to cause a particular effect. The idea is that certain items, spices, teeth, feathers, heads even, or eyes, or hands, etc., placed in a bag and blessed or charged will produce a magical effect for the person who carries it. Mojo bags are still popular today as many advertisements in magazines, TV, or even in the internet. Things you can even buy them today at Amazon or Shopee. Even just search in Shopee magical talisman, and 90% of those are kind of false, but 10% of those are true. Are As I said before, they are still and on websites too, still promote their use of distribution. But back then, since the form of spreading the word is through your mouths. So when someone is lucky enough, they would spread it to their neighbors, their friends, and it'll be like a chain effect. So the friend will tell the other friend, the friend will tell the other friend, the other friend, and the friend, until it creates a chain that it makes a rumor, and that it makes the village rumor, and then it will spread all throughout the world. It's like So that's why spreading rumors can be fatal to one another because if you only tell one person, then you're doomed because that one person, even if you said that is only a secret, will tend to tell the other person to the secret, in which it spreads until the whole world knows it, and well, whatever secret you were telling to him is now revealed. Many alchemists sought the assistance of talismans, in which they made in elaborate ceremonies, which were conducted during periods of auspicious astrological signs. So that's why we have the zodiac signs today, where we believe some people believe that the sign of the Leo, Gemini, Aries, and such, and and even back then in Greek mythology, we believe that they are gods, like for example Athena, Hera, or etc. etc. Zeus, I don't know, the god of lightning. So that's and they're even made amulets for that. So for example, an amulet of lightning, it makes you dodge any trouble from the speed of lightning. See, that idea itself, I could just make it to an amulet. And for example, this thing. Example, this thing. Of course, this is an air purifier in today, but if I travel back to the world, I could just say this thing is an amulet made from certain metals or objects, and it produces purifying air made from the animal god or something. I don't know, but I use it to protect myself against viruses and the plague itself. And people will tend to believe it, and since this is the only one that I brought with me, people will try to steal it and do it for themselves, or even better, sell it at the highest price possible. Moving on. So many alchemists again sought the assistance of talismans, which were their main which were they conducted during periods of auspicious astrological signs. During these rituals, they recited incantation to conjure the desired spirits who imbued the talismans with magical power. And it's still applied up to today. So there we can see in shows or stereotypical shows that so for example, the main protagonist goes into a fortune telling thing, a fortune telling studio or something, and there's a old lady who will conjure the spirits of the dead using a magical ball, in which in reality, if you that's a load of hoax, that's a load of lies, and they're just designed to give you money, but they are put to the belief that they are real. And whether if we believe it or not, it comes with price, of course. It's just business. Business is business. Money runs the world. So of course people will do everything and anything to get money. To get money. Whether it be the dirty way or the clean way. And lying is certainly one of those dirty ways to get money. That's why and that form of making money is kinda common in the world today. We lie. I mean, for example, a kid lies that he's only poor and he doesn't have a family, and people will just give him money. They are taking advantage of those good Samaritans out there. But in this case, well, I mean, it's just only whether you believe it or not, or whether you have money or not. It depends. So, the talisman most sought after was the elusive Philosopher's Stone, which the alchemists thought would transform base metals into silver and gold. So that's why. So that's why today I tell you is why we believe that these talismans are to be believed as real or not. from the tribal nations up to now. And for centuries and periods of time, from the medieval period, romantic period, or whatever period you think you can think of, talismans and amulets are still here to stay until today. And we do not know whether if they will stay in the near future or will be abolished by countries, since mainly science will now get involved, and sooner or later the population of the world will believe that science is real. Like, everything is invented by science nowadays. For example, a TV, a phone which I am using for recording right now, a ring light, a electric fan, an air purifier that spews out air. They're all powered by circuits, electricity, machines, and that only smart people know that can create it through science and technology itself. Because nowadays we can only think that everything is made from science. And I believe so. For example, a bed comes from a factory in which the robotics of that factory is made from components or parts that can be made to make beds. See, we can all believe that. And thus we can all conclude that in today's speech, or in today's topic, we can conclude that talismans before were only the past. And they were only believed in medieval periods of time in magic. And nowadays, people are less tend to believe that these things are magical. Only our lolos, lolas, titos and titas, or anything from the before generations know this. That they know that these things are magical. In which today the millennials, us, or the other generations, or what they call it, whatever, it believes that it's false, and we can only rely on phones to see the information. So, thank you for listening to me today. For whoever will be watching this, and sayonara.